In the dazzling and bustling city of Port Harcourt, there lived a very beautiful girl named Uto, meaning sweet. Her little brother's name was Didi. They both stayed with their grandma as their parents had kicked the bucket. Uto had the dream of becoming a teacher. Growing up, she had seen her mom teach in the community secondary school. She loved the way her mom dressed and looked smart every day. But this dream was far-fetched because they were poor. Not just that they were poor, but they had nothing to their name. Uto's parents died in a very mysterious way. As they were returning one day from work while riding a canoe, the canoe capsized and her parents couldn't swim. So for Uto and her brother, they made it a point of duty to learn how to swim. What cut their parents' life short won't cut theirs. Uto took care of Didi and her grandma, but it wasn't easy. They had little. Uto did various kind of menial job, but the pay wasn't good enough. She wanted Didi to go to school. She was ready to sacrifice everything, provided Didi was going to go to school. And one day, Uto woke up and looked at her grandma and told her grandma, "Mama, I'm not sure I'm going to bear the name Uto again." And her grandma looked at her and said, "Why?" Uto looked at her grandma and said, "I don't like the name." Her grandma looked at her and said, "My daughter, what don't you like about the name? Your parents were glad the moment they gave birth to you. And your father couldn't think of a name, and he quickly called you Uto, meaning sweet. You brought so much light to the life of your parents. So how can you say you don't like the name they gave to you?" Uto looked around and said, "Mama, so what is so sweet about my life now? We have nothing to our name. We practically live from hand to mouth. There is nothing around us indicating sweet in any way." Her grandma looked at her and said, "Okay, if you don't want to be a Uto again, so what do you want us to call you?" And she looked at her grandma and said, "Call me Geneka." Her grandma said, "I don't understand. Why do you want Geneka?" Uto said, "It's not just Geneka. Genekachi. It's a question. What is greater than God?" Because she had already given up on everything. She had given up on herself. So now she wanted to put herself in that position to ask God, what is that thing that is greater than you? You're seeing us. You're seeing every part of us. We don't have anything. The villagers belittle us. So what is that thing that is greater than you? Her grandma totally understood and told her, "No problem. That will be your name." And Uto practically told everyone around her. Whenever they called her Uto, she would turn and say, "No, my name is Genekachi." And that was how Uto gradually started changing her name from the lips of every villagers. People preferred calling her the Genekachi since that was what she wanted to be called. And with the passing days, Uto started going towards the riverbank, and she saw the way fishermen sorted their fish. She saw the way they did tails. And she told herself, if I can start cooking and selling in the big city, I too will be able to make some money and bring back home. My brother will be able to wear good clothes to school. They won't laugh at him because he's putting on rags. My grandma will be able to eat well, and everything will be going on well for us. So Uto thought of a way to generate fund to start this cooking business that she wanted. First, she needed meat, and getting meat wasn't even easy at all. The cost of beef in the market. So she told her brother, Didi, that Didi needed to learn how to set trap, because when she starts cooking, she was going to be using bushmeat. And for the fishes that she will be using to make her food, she will go to the riverbank as early as in order to get those fish from the fishermen. And she noticed that the fishermen select their fish based on the one that they feel that would die soon, or the ones that are 100% alive. So Uto made up her mind that any fish the fisherman wants to discard because he or she feels that this fish won't make it till when he gets home. She was going to collect the fish, quickly kill the fish there and dress it. All she needed was the way to make money, something that was going to help her make her family stable at least. And that was how it started. Dede helped Uto to set trap in the bush, whereas Uto goes to the riverbank every morning at exactly 4 a.m. waiting for the fishermen to return with their boats. Uto got little or no much quantity for the fish, but for the trap, Dede's trap got big bush rats. Uto was excited. So she made up her mind to start cooking. When her grandma saw her cooking, her grandma asked her, Uto, what are you doing? Uto looked at her grandma and said, Mama, cooking. I want to start selling food in the big city. But her grandma said, no, Uto, you can't. You know what killed your parents. I won't allow you to sail through this village. You're not even allowed to enter the boat and sail from our village to the city. Uto looked at her grandma and said, Mama, don't worry. I know how to swim. Nothing is going to happen to me. I am giving you my words. Just grant me this wish. It took her grandma few days to accept it. Uto still tried to preserve her bush meat and her fish. She smoked it very well. And the day her grandma finally decided to accept Uto's request, Uto set off for her business. She uses the day to prepare everything. At exactly 4 p.m., she leaves the village with her big coolers of food to the city. She wanted to sell food at night, knowing fully well that the traders will be returning, the bikers and all those things. But her grandma asked her, where will you sleep at night? Uto said, Mama, don't worry. The moment I'm done selling my food, I'll look for somewhere I can sleep and return early in the morning the next day. And that was how Uto started. It wasn't easy at first. That was her first time going to the big city. Getting somewhere to keep her food wasn't easy. Uto had to carry coolers on her head and even held some on her hand. But for her food, it was delicious. People enjoyed her meal. Uto started looking for a way to get somewhere to stay so that the moment she comes every day, people will know where to meet her. But getting somewhere like that wasn't easy. It was either the price they were calling for matching ground was too much, or they had too many rules governing it. Uto had to look for somewhere. She knew that moving round and round wasn't going to help her get a particular set of people called customers. So she had to look for. And when she finally saw, the matching ground fee was too much, but she made up her mind that she was going to cook more food in order to cover up her losses from that matching ground fee. And it was at this point that Uto finally made it. Because the moment she comes with her coolers of food, people will start ordering. I want rice and bushmeat. I want okra and bushmeat. People started demanding for her food left, right, center. Uto was making it well in the city. But she was very careful. Very, very careful. She knew that she needed money to always restock. So she planned her life very well. She made sure to save. She even opened an account for herself, her brother and her grandma. When she was done selling for the day and buying everything she needed to use to cook the next day, whatsoever change that was remaining, she saved part of them in the bank. Then she also bought things for her brother for school. She made sure to change his school uniform, his sandals, his school bag. These were things she gradually did. It didn't just happen like magic. It was a gradual process. Dede did everything to encourage his sister. He made sure never to let her down. Before Uto would demand for any bushmeat, Dede will make sure that it was ready available. Uto started selling bushmeat to big men. Some men will ask her, why don't you come early so that we can get bushmeat and fresh palm wine? Uto will explain her challenges. Some will book and state that the moment you come, bring so amount of bushmeat and fresh wine to me. And Uto made sure to deliver to her customers. She made sure never to keep every customer waiting. One fateful day, when Uto was carrying out her day-to-day activities in the evening, attending to her customers, it wasn't easy for her because she was the only one, but she was very careful. You can't cheat Uto. And Uto believes that because she does not cheat, no one should cheat her. She was very, very careful. The moment you come to her stand, you have to be patient. That was the number one rule. The rule number one was be patient, because she was the only person and she wanted to avoid confusion so that someone don't trick her and steal her money. While she was carrying out her day-to-day activities, she noticed two men were having this serious conversation. But they weren't speaking English. She was trying to understand what they were saying because it felt like they were plotting something against someone. Lo and behold, they were speaking a dialect of her father. A dialect she understood very, very well. They were trying to rob a very big man whose company was close to where Uto's stand was. Uto listened carefully to everything they said, and she was shocked. She never believed in this life that people were ready to reap where they did not sow. Uto made up her mind that she was going to save that big man, not because she liked him or he was too special or he had done everything special, but because his staff often patronized her and they were well-mannered. So she wanted to go save this man because of his staff. All his staff, ranging from his gatesman to the secretary, everyone that have ever patronized her from that company, always regarded her with respect. None of them ever looked down on her, even while she sold her small food. After the men had left for the day, because they were planning to carry out this activity in 1 week time, they were just analyzing, plotting and strategizing on what to do. Uto walked up to the man where she was done for that day as she closed late that day, and she knew that the moment she was done washing her coolers and going to the night market, she was going to sleep in her stand. She had to talk to the man who they were plotting to rob. And the moment she walked up to this young, handsome, pompous man named Anili, she looked at Anili and greeted Anili. Anili wasn't really interested in whatsoever she had to say, as Uto didn't know how to present her English well. She was still speaking scattered English. But she looked at him and said, "Excuse me, you don't even know what I want to see, and you're already running away." And Anili was trying to understand, who is this lady talking to me? Who is she? Uto said, "Sir, can't you give someone 15 minutes of your time?" And Anili said, "Okay." While looking at his wristwatch, he told her, "I am giving you 15 minutes of my time. Be fast about it." Since Anili wasn't willing to listen to whatsoever she had to say, she made sure to summarize everything the way she had heard it. At first, Anili did not believe her. He did not believe her. But while going home, he tried to think about it. He does not know this lady. He only knows that there was someone selling food by the roadside. So what must have prompted this lady to come and share what she had heard? And how did she even know that what they were plotting was against him? Anili said he was going to observe for the meantime, notice if something was going to happen within 1 week. At least he should be able to know when there is a slight change. And lo and behold, these men wanted to really rob him dry. And the main person giving them the information was his personal assistant. The moment Anili found out that what Uto said was true, Anili was highly disappointed in his personal assistant, being that this personal assistant had already worked with him for 3 good years. So was it that he had always tried to rob him for these 3 years? Anili was happy. He was able to catch the personal assistant and other people before they carried out the robbery. Lo and behold, Uto was able to save his company, as his personal assistant wasn't just planning to rob him, like rob his personal money, but to rob a transaction, to hijack a transaction that was coming to the company. He and his friends wanted to hijack that transaction and boycott it. But Uto was able to save the company of a project worth millions and billions of dollars. Anile looked for the best way to thank her, but Uto did not accept anything from him. She just told him, I was doing it because I cared and because your staffs are good. I wasn't doing it so that you can give me anything. I'm not even interested in anything you have to give to me. Anile was shocked. Who is this girl? Why is she forming holy as thou? Everyone would have been grateful and accepted anything I give to them. But Uto wasn't even interested. So this pushed Anile. He wanted to know who she was, what was so special about her, why was she even selling food. So Anile paid his driver to follow Uto. This driver follows Uto as early as 4 a.m. every day. He sees her enter the canoe and journey to the other side of the river. And exactly 4 p.m. that same day, he will see her returning with coolers of food filled to the brim. The moment he gave the feedback to Anile, Anile was moved. Not because people weren't doing it, but because she was young. She was supposed to be in school. Anile quickly asked him, can you go further? I really want to know everything about her. So this driver followed Uto. Unknown to Uto, that Anile had sent someone to follow her. The driver followed Uto, observed the way she got her products, everything, and still gave a feedback to Anile. Anile was unmoved. And he walked up to Uto the next morning while she was about to leave at exactly 4. Uto looked at him and said, I'm sorry, sir, but I'm too tired to listen, and I need to return home before the last canoe returns for the day. Anile pleaded with Uto that he would love to see her that evening. Uto said no problem. And the moment Uto came to work that evening, she met with Anile, who genuinely wanted to help her. Uto told him, I know that there is nothing in this life that goes for nothing. If you give me a hand of help, you will want something in return. And that is why I am avoiding it. Anile said no. You've saved me a whole lot. So even if I give you a hand of help, I don't want anything in return. Uto said, okay, sir. So what do you want to do for me? And it was at that point that Anile offered Uto a space in one of his buildings so she could carry out her services as a full-time restaurant rather than traveling up and down every day. The days is raining, the days is storming. It was better for her that way. And if possible, move her brother and her grandma to the city. Uto talked about this and said, this is too good to be true. You want to give me a shop in your own plaza for free? Why? I don't think I can accept it, Uto said. Anile looked at her and said, okay, even if you don't want to accept it, pay me rent. Pay me whatsoever you think you can afford for the meantime. That's just it by me. Uto looked at everything. She weighed her auction, as she had always looked forward to owning her own restaurant. So she decided to go with what Anile said. She'd gradually set up the restaurants with the help of Anile. Anile helped her to get all necessary things she needed. Then she looked forward to renting an apartment in the big city. The moment she was done finalizing everything, this took her a period of 6 months to do. She moved her grandma and her brother to the big city. Things gradually started moving well for them. One step at a time, things gradually started coming in place for them. Uto made sure never to forget the goodwill of Anile. she made sure to deposit the least amount she could to his account, knowing fully well that that was the agreement. If she didn't want to take it for free, then she should deposit something she knew that was worth a rent for the shop. Uto was grateful. Uto's grandma had invited Anile one evening. She just wanted to thank him for everything he had done for them. Anile came. He was highly welcome. She made their native dish. Anile enjoyed everything. He enjoyed the company of her grandma, her brother, and while Uto was walking Anile to his car, Anile asked her, "What's your story?" Uto explained everything. How she wasn't even being called Uto in her village, but she was being called Gemeka. And she's grateful that God had brought her this far. If only she knew that this little act of kindness, just opening her mouth to speak up, was going to earn her so much. Anile smiled and said, "You saved me more than I saved you, and I will always remain grateful to you." Uto thanked him and he left. But with the passing days, Anile found out that he gradually started getting attracted to Uto. Not because she was too wonderful or anything, but her simplicity. She was very, very understanding, and she knew how to strategize very well. She was very, very careful with her words and tried to pre-plan her life. Anile loved everything about her, but he knew telling her the way he felt was a bit in a hurry. He needed her to settle down. He needed her family to settle down properly, adapt to the city, before trying to start talking about his feelings. And it didn't take long. Uto got a school for her brother, a school that he loved, a school he was comfortable with the moment he entered. And for her grandma decided to start following her to the restaurants. As now, it wasn't just a buka store, but a full-blown restaurant, as Anile helped her to get everything in place. With the help of her grandma, things were moving fast and smooth. They prepared the food as early as 3 a.m. every day, cleaned the restaurant before opening for the day. And the moment they were cooking and running out of foodstuff, Uto would quickly rush to the market to get more foodstuffs. The food restaurant was doing well. Everyone was doing well. And it was at this point, Anile told Uto, "Since your grandma is here, why not try to go to school? I understand the fact that you want your brother to be learned, but at the same time, you have your own dream, right? Don't leave your brother's dream for him. He knows what he wants out of life. And I think you've gotten to that point in life where you can call yourself stable. So go to school." Uto looked at him and said, "How do you expect me to go to school? My grandma isn't that young, and I can't leave all the activities of the restaurant to her. Even if we have just 2 staffs, those 2 staffs can still steal from her because she might not be able to go around the way I do." Anile looked at her and laughed and said, "Let me tell you, you have to give people benefit of doubt. That's just the truth. You have to let them do that thing that you think they would do. And when you catch them, you know how you react. If you think you want to handle everything by yourself, you are going to grow old, have your own dream and live your own life." Uto said, "Okay, sir, I'm going to think about it. Whatever I come up with, I'm going to let you know." Anile looked at her and said, "Okay, no problem. Do have a good night rest." As Anile had gone to the restaurant to tell her about the way he thought, but he couldn't because he had to bring up school first. Uto sat down that night and gave this whole talk a deep thought. And she told herself, what Anile said is true. If I keep on focusing on the restaurant, one day, Dede will be a graduate and I'll be nothing. He'll be able to get work in a big company and I'll be nothing. Even if he's appreciative of everything I've done, what if he tells me that he did not make me do it? It was my decision. It is better I try to venture into school, even if it's an online study. But I don't want to leave my restaurants in the hands of Mama and these 2 young girls I know nothing about. After giving it a thought, she told herself that she was going to ask Annie if there was any program she could do online, probably learn how to speak English, any course. But leaving her restaurant was a no-no for her. So the next day, after Annie was done for the work for that day, he had come to the restaurant just to see Uto. They sat down while he was eating dinner. Uto quickly asked him, "I want to go to school, but I don't want to leave my restaurant. Not because I want to oversee everything by force, but the fact that I am not comfortable with leaving it means that I can't leave it. So is there any way I can learn online or do something? But I can't leave my restaurant to the hands of grandma and these two ladies." And then I said, "Okay, no problem. I'll gather all necessary information I have about schooling online and I'll let you know. Anyone you think you can do, anyone that you think that will fit your schedule, then you can go for it." Uto told him, "Thank you very much." Anile had already made up his mind that the moment Uto gets a school online, then he was going to confess about the way he feels. To which it didn't take long. Few months down the line, got a school of her choice. She registered, paid the tuition fee, and was ready to start. She made sure to place the school time within 4 p.m. every day. Where she feel like even if there was a rush, Dede was around. Dede was back from school to help to see the restaurant for her. So from 4 p.m. every evening to 8 p.m. she was studying online. And the moment she was done, Dede helps to pass all necessary information to her. That was how Uto was living her life. And it didn't take long. Anile told Uto the way he felt. Uto was a bit skeptical about it, knowing fully well that he was from a very rich family, a known family, and an influential family at that. She was 100% certain that his family wasn't going to accept her. And truth be told, the moment Anile told his parents about Uto, they declined immediately. So this is a battle between love and family. Stay tuned for part 2.